Hello, YouTube. This video, just like my last video, has no script because I believe that if I'm going to convey my ideas, then it has to be authentic. It has to be what I'm really thinking. It can't be something that I stole from someone else or something that was written in a book. So, I've been taking a lot of takes of this video. I've been trying again and again to condense the extremely wise Four Noble Truths into a YouTube video. Kind of an impossible task. However, in this take, what I'm going to do a little bit differently is I'm not going to mess around with elaborate examples. I'm not going to use serious, extensive evidence. I'm just going to tell you the Four Noble Truths, straightforward, straight to the point. So, before I get into them, very simply, what are the Four Noble Truths? These are four truths the Buddha said. They are at the center of Buddhism. Everything else spans from these. Okay, good. First noble truth is that life is unsatisfying. Have you ever wanted something that you didn't have? Have you ever been sad? Have you ever had a bad day? Have you ever worked hard for something and then once you got it, you weren't happy with it? These are examples of unsatisfaction, and it is pervasive. Most people spend their whole lives going from high school to college to job to job to job to job to retirement, always longing for the next phase of their life. And because of that, they are not satisfied with the current one. Okay, life is unsatisfying. Well, maybe I'm not so sure. Why is it unsatisfying? Second noble truth. Because of your desires. Your desires create unsatisfaction. Like I mentioned, wanting something and not having it inherently makes you unsatisfied. It's like a man who is hungry that wants food. If he doesn't have the food, then he is unsatisfied. In a much broader sense, like I mentioned with jobs in high school, a lot of people are in high school and they're unsatisfied. They say, I don't have enough friends. I'm not in a romantic relationship. I don't have enough money. I don't like my clothes. Once I'm in college, I'll have all that stuff figured out. And then once they're in college, they say, well, it's all right, but once I'm at my job, I'll really have stuff figured out. And they go from job to job to job. And sure, you might get happier. You might get, more satisfied. But as long as there are these things that you want, whether it be money, looks, friends, romantic relationships, clothes, cars, anything you want, any desires that you have will lead you to be unsatisfied. And everyone wants things that they don't have. Everyone. Even if you think, well, not me, I'm the one person that has everything I could ever want. If I was there and I offered you like $500,000, would you take it? It's very likely. If I was there and I offered you like a supercar, would you take it? It's very likely. If I was there and I was like, hey, this person is your perfect friend, or this person's your perfect girlfriend or perfect boyfriend, and they genuinely, like not in a genie way, like in a real life, you met this person, do you want to connect with them? Do you want to know them? Do you want their time? Yes, of course. And even if you would say, no, I don't actually need any money or any cars or any relationships or any clothes, I guarantee you that there is something in some aspect of life, however small it is, that you wish you had. Right? And if you say no to that, then you're just not being honest with yourself, because otherwise you wouldn't be doing anything. If you're already happy with everything, you wouldn't be working, you wouldn't be getting educated, you wouldn't really have anything to do because you would just have everything. Anyway, life is unsatisfying. This unsatisfaction comes from wanting / desires, whatever you want to call it. Logically, it then follows that if you were to get rid of desires, you would get rid of unsatisfaction and you would be satisfied. That's the third noble truth. Get rid of desires and you will be happy, because when you have nothing to desire, there is nothing that will make you unsatisfied. Well, how do you do that? How do you get rid of all of your desires? And also, what would life look like once you get rid of all your desires? That wouldn't really make any sense. These are questions for future videos. Because the fourth noble truth is that in order to get rid of your desires, you must follow the eightfold path. And that's going to be its own video. Now, a lot of people might hear that and instantly say, okay, well, I can't disprove anything that you say, right? Yes, it's true I want things. Yes, it's true that I'd be happier if I didn't want anything. But no one wants nothing. And I used to say, well, certain enlightened people do, and, throughout history, many people have, and there's a chance that if you are extremely diligent and very good in your practice, that you will too want nothing someday. But a much more realistic answer for people that are curious about, well, what does this really look like for me in my life right here, right now, in the amount of years I have left to live, is that even though it's very unlikely, just probability speaking, statistically speaking, that you will be enlightened and want nothing, myself included, that doesn't mean that we can't want less and be happier for it. I remember when I first got into Buddhism, when I was 16, I wanted a lot. I wanted a lot. And I was more unhappy because of it. I am not an enlightened man. I'm not even close to an enlightened man. Not even in the same realm as an enlightened man. But I am much, much, much better, at least much more satisfied than I was before Buddhism. Because now, I look at all the things I have and I say, well, because of my practice, because of my knowledge, because of all the things I've done, because of my progress with the Eightfold Path, I say, well, I do want things, but I want less. I want less things. And that makes my life immensely easier, immensely better. I think that it's a little bit silly to expect religion, in this case Buddhism, to cure your life of everything. That's pretty much the biggest complaint that people have against the Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, all that, is that they say, well, hey, it's not going to fix everything, is it? And it's like, yeah, well, let's say that you have a sickness. In this case, the sickness is unsatisfaction, but for, the sake of imagination, we can imagine it's any sickness. And I have the medicine. And I say, well, if you take this medicine extremely diligently for the rest of your life, there's a chance that you will be cured. But it doesn't happen to everyone. You might say, okay, well then, what's the point? And I'll say, well, hold on. If you start taking the medicine today, every day you will be cured some. Every day you will feel better. In a couple of years, you'll be very close to not sick at all. And they'll say, okay, well, that's great. And I say, yeah, that 1% left, that 10% left of your sickness, it might stick around, but you'll be aware of it. And honestly, you'll be grateful that 90% of your desires are gone. You're 90% cured. And, who wouldn't want to be 90% cured? The idea that it's either 100% or nothing is not something that we apply to any other aspect of our lives. And I don't think that religion should be an exception to that. So those are the Four Noble Truths, plus a bit of commentary about what they can do for you. Last part of this video, also, sorry that the light keeps going out. It's a Google Sheet. I don't have a backlight. I'm not a professional YouTuber. Last thing I'm going to say before I end the video is, someone else might ask me the question, rightfully. They might say, well, sorry about that. They might say, well, why even make these videos? You're not going to make money off of them, and it's very unlikely that many people are going to watch them. And my answer to that is that if you believe something as strongly as I believe in Buddhism, it could be a philosophy, a religion, just a personal belief, and you don't really have the capability to articulate that without a script, as I do not have now, that it's very unlikely that you understand your own beliefs. It's very unlikely that you have a grasp on the things that you believe yourself. So I would advise all of you to, you don't have to make a video, but maybe, even though it might sound a little weird, talk to yourself when it comes to something that you care a lot about, and see if you can explain it to you. And if you can, go for it. Anyway, that's my video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.